interesting for others.
In your writing, could it possible what is your life and came from your life background?
No, I am now writing my autobiography, which is tentatively titled as Born Without Wings. So the idea is I am tracing my childhood life around the village, how I have grown up, in what kind of circumstances I have grown up. Because one of the major influences that made a turn in my life was going to the school from sheep. See, I was a shepherd, I was a cattle rearing boy. I think I must have gone to school when I was 8 or so. My brother was about 10. Both of us went to school at the same time. Now my mother told the teacher when he came and asked that why don't you send your two sons to school? She said, if they go to school they will die, because in our family there is no tradition of education. Then it is generally said that Saraswati will kill Sudra children who go to school. So then he said, no, Saraswati is goddess of education. Now then my grandmother, my father's elder mother, his mother died earlier than that. So she said, no, Saraswati is a devil who kills Sudras and Kurmagollas who goes to school. So our elder boy died when he was writing some letters when we sent him to a tutor. So these people also will die. Now from there, see, the whole story of education, Saraswati being against us, and then starting going to school. School was a kind of jail for me, because I used to play with the cattle, goats, washing cattle, running around along with them, watching they not jumping into the field, so things like that. Then we both of us, we were put in the school, not my sister. But then what took a major turn was after 5th class we were sent to a bigger village called Hudur. My village is known as Papayapet, which is in Narsampet Taluka, Old Taluka, and now it is Chanaraupet. This comes under the former Talukdar, a Reddy Talukdar whose name was Mahbub Reddy. He was given these lands, about the entire Taluka lands, by Mahbub Pasha, who came to hunt there, and his father put the child at his feet and then made him the Zamindar and Jagirdar, everything there. So our village was very backward village, and it was forest based village, and we did not even have much agriculture in those days. So basically our life was around sheep, goat, and some cattle, buffaloes and cows and bulls we were acquiring, because my mother was a dynamic mother. So she sent us to school in opposition when many were opposing. Then in the 5th class, after that was over, She requested a Reddy to take us to Goodur and admit us in 6th class. There was a huge landlord there called Epur Lakshma Reddy who was literally ruling the school. So my mother, he said, you bring them to that landlord, I will also tell him. So he came along with us. My father was very innocent. He used to always sit, and he was not well also. For a long time he was not well. So my mother used to take care of everything. The sheep herds, she was caste head. Her name was Kancha Ilaiya. She was in a way popular in that caste community and in the village. So she took us and put at his feet that I have two beggars, please admit them in the school. So he wrote a slip that admit them in the school, and then we were living in a small shed, 4 kids of us. We used to cook all the time. But then once my mother, since we got admission in that school, there is a big Lakshmi Swami temple there. So every summer people carry baskets of sweet food cooked in pots and what they call bonam and put to God. She brought all the way from the village, and we were, since living there, we all went to the temple. There was a huge priest with a bulky body. He was incidentally the brother of our own classmate. There was a Brahmin boy called Rangachari in my class. This priest was his brother, and normally his father also would be priest, both of them. So they said, leave the coconut there, and the food you can't put here, and money, some money, he said 5 rupees or 10 rupees, you put the money there and be away from the temple. So she put all that there, and she gave some paddy to all of us outside the temple, far away. After all, we are shepherds and we are not untouchable. But then he broke the coconut, half of it he kept and half of it he gave to my mother. So we bought what they call chilkalu, all those things. So then it struck, look, we had to, my mother put me at the feet of a landlord. Then my mother brought food for the guard because we are here. The priests, they were very hefty and bulky, father and elder son of his. His son was, his youngest son, who was my class, was not at all bright. My brother used to top the school class, and I used to get the second mark. This boy who never used to get good marks, but they were supposed to be very great in the eyes of God. So then once what happened, this landlord, I think I was in 7th class, we used to eat food with tamarind liquids and some pachal, and we used to live in a very bad shed where there were a lot of rats and what we call pandikokulu, putting all the mud hills all around, and so we used to cook in that house, somehow manage, and I was very sick all the time. So he gave us the scout dress, first time, khaki necker and shirt and red shoes. So my brother was comparatively good in health, and the classmates I had in that room were also better. They were elder to me actually. In those days, in 60s, only big children from the villages could go to school. So one day I cooked my food because my brother used to leave all the cooking on me. we cook our food, and they ran to the scout, whereas I went to the scout a bit late. So this landlord was sitting under a tree when the peon was holding umbrella on him. So I was running into the peon. So he stopped me. And said, asked the peon to bring him here. So shivering, I went there. He said, why are you late? I said, sir, I cooked my food, and I am not also well. So that's the reason why I'm late. So he said to take away his shoes and dress. So the peon just pulled off my shoes and dress. That was the first time I had shoes. Otherwise, earlier we used to go to school on slippers. So, even those rubber slippers were the first time I saw in my life. But then it was shocking. I went back on my banian and dryer home, weeping all the way. My brother and others were in the drilling. So there was a very deep anger in me that why these landlords are doing like this, why the God is doing like this. So after that, in my 9th class, from after 7th, my health deteriorated. After 8th. So my brother was there. I was shifted to Narsampet, which was the taluka headquarter, better town. So I had good marks in 8th class. So I went to the headmaster on my own. My mother could not come. My brother had some problem. So I took my TC and went to the headmaster. He admitted me, gave a slip to B section. So there was one teacher called Narasimha. He looked at my slip. I said, why this headmaster is sending all these useless fellows to my class? This Ilaiah, Malaya, Ilaiah, you don't know how to study. You're all bloody rascals. You should have been with the cattle or in the agriculture. Why are you coming to school, and why does this headmaster admit all of you only in my section? So I bent my head down, and he entered my name into the register. Then I started going to school, and that very year late, my brother also was shifted to that school. Then in the quarterly examination, he was teaching us Hindi. He used to always insult me. See, I was very thin with smallpox face. My brother was also, he had a much more horrible smallpox. I had this smallpox when I was 6 months old child. I would have died at that time. Then I had a burning here because one day when I was 2 years kid, I was sitting in winter near Poi, that hill. So I had what we call arakatna, that some cloth was wrapped up around me, and that got fire. So it burnt many parts of my body, including the face. My mother was sprinkling dung water. My sisters were also there. She came running and then hit every fire all on my body, and then somebody brought water and poured. So this is because of that burning. So my face used to be in a way ugly in that sense of what beauty. And my brother also had a very thick, almost piercing smallpox when he was 2.5 and I was 6 months. So I started feeling that in the in the class that on the one side you have humiliation, the teacher thinks that you are useless. So I used to study very seriously. But even then my brother used to do first. So in the what we call quarterly examination, I got highest marks in Hindi, and the same teacher valued the papers and looked at it. Hey, Ilaiah, come here. So I went there. Hey, you are all right, you write well. You got highest marks. I just bent my head and folded my hands, stood there. So then, I used to read and read. Then there were some teachers who used to teach well. We had one English teacher called Buchiramulu or something. He was a come up by caste, but teaching all right. I mean, then I used to learn quite a bit and started reading whatever comes to mind. So my brother and others, they used to go for play. They were, he was class monitor, so on and so forth. Whereas I used to cook, wash the dishes, and then be around books. So, but what happened in 9th, suddenly my mother developed in summer, after we passed 9th class, one fine evening, she went to seedle the groundnut and came back. She slowly became unconscious because she got tetanus. She was all the time fighting within the caste against a caste rival who was also slightly literate fellow. His name was Kore Veeraya. He was police patel of the village. Somehow he managed police patel. He used to harass my mother a lot because she was educating us, and so in some quarrel our relatives bet her, and she got bad blows on her back, on her chest, and she took an injection from a quack who was an old guy. That injection he gave her, hand became very swollen, so that got septic, so she got tetanus. So then she became unconscious. That night in our bullock cart, we had a bullock cart by then, our agriculture was much better. She was the one who improved agriculture. We used to have 3 plows. That's supposed to be in the Kurma community good agriculture. Moon Nagalla, Vyavasayam, Godlu. She was head of the family. Now suddenly she became unconscious, and we took that night in the bullock cart to Narsampet town where we were studying, and there was only one RMP doctor who was ready. Even now he is alive. So we took her to his hospital, and I literally went and fell on his feet that you have to save my mother. He did all kinds of things, but by morning she died. So we brought her back, and then I held the funeral pot. The only worry was that maybe we'll have to stop studying. So my father was innocent, my brothers and sisters were married. So then I held the pot. I'm writing the whole story. We took her, we burnt her, then till 9th day, all kinds of things. Kati Papalolu, Ganget Lolu, all these people came. But on the 11th day, 2 priests came. One was from Gudur, a Brahmin, and one was from Narsampet, a Jangam. So we all did whatever rituals we had to do at my mother's Kadu, where we burnt her. We burnt her in our own field. That's where nearby now the English medium school has come up. So we went to the stream